Imagine that you wake up in a place you've never been before. Strange colors, strange shapes, everything reacts somehow. Where are you? Is it a government experiment? It's something mystical, divine? You're in space? You're abducted by aliens? Are you dreaming? Is this virtual reality? Where are you? Whatever you conceive about your situation is an extrapolation from the environment in which you grew up. You cannot conceive more than that. Whatever you heard, whatever you saw, TV, religion, science, friends, movies, family, etc. From here will come your answer for your situation. You will associate with what you already know, and thus, we discovered something extraordinary. The environment is defining for you. Therefore, we will try something nobody has tried before. To analyze the current environment, to see if our perception about the world is based on something.
That's why there's no such thing as an intelligent person. That if people are fairly well informed in area A and B, not informed in area C.
You say you're worried about kids. I'm not worried about kids. I'm worried about grown-ups.
I mean, if there's stuff on Google, why would you need to stuff it into your head?
For me to bring in a child is for me to actually say, I believe the world will be in good shape for the duration of my child's life. And then it becomes, what if my child has a grandchild? Should the world have the integrity to maintain stability for that child as well?
When you're thinking about something you don't understand, you have a terrible, uncomfortable feeling called confusion. It's a very difficult and unhappy business.
I'm 78 now, subtract 17 from that when I started doing this sort of thing. And that's the number of years that I've been looking around to see if there are any such gifted people.
It's unclear whether we will completely have rural aging under control in 50 years, but I think that if we get good funding, especially for the early work that needs to be done on mice in the next 10 years, then there's a very good chance that we will be there.
Seriously, though, you are, dude. No, really. There's no rationalization for what you do, and you are Satan's little helpers, okay?
I'd like to talk about some things that bring us together. Things that point out our similarities instead of our differences.
You see, we have made life into a hideously living. Life has become a battle, which is an obvious fact. Constant fight. And we have divorced that living from death.
When we physicists look in outer space for alien life, we don't look for little green men. we look for type 1, type 2, and type 3 civilizations. A type 1 civilization has harnessed planetary power. They control earthquakes, the weather, volcanoes. They have cities on the ocean. Anything planetary, they control. That's type 1. A type 2 civilization is stellar. They've exhausted the power of a planet, and they get their energy directly from their mother star. They just don't get a suntan on a weekend. They use solar flares. They use the power of the sun itself to energize their huge machines. Eventually, they exhaust the power of a star, and they go galactic. They harness the power of billions of stars within a galaxy. Now, what are we on this scale? We are type 0. We don't even rate on this scale. We get our energy from, not from stars or galaxies, we get our energy from dead plants, oil and coal. Now, every time I read the newspaper, I see evidence of this historic transition from type 0 to type 1. And I am privileged to be alive in the most important era in the history of the human race, the transition from type 0 to type 1. I read the newspaper, and I see evidence of this everywhere. And so this transition is perhaps the most important transition of all time. Some people don't want it. They fear this transition because this transition is to a planetary civilization tolerant of many cultures. This transition is also the most important because it's not clear if we're going to make it. When we look at outer space, we see no evidence of type 1, 2, or 3 anywhere. No evidence whatsoever. The mathematics say that there should be thousands of type 1, 2, and 3 civilizations in the galaxy. We see no evidence of any whatsoever. And why is that? Because the transition from type 0 to type 1 is the most dangerous of all transitions. We may not make it. It's a race against time.